first meeting of the year for me as well. We had a little conference a few days ago, but other than that, first meeting of the year. So people often say to me, I just sat there, back there thinking, often people say, how come you never talk about your story? Because everybody has a story, and Bertie just mentioned people having stories. And people say, why don't you ever talk about your story? And I think to myself, do you know what? I don't actually have a story. That's why I am a man with no story at all. My story really only did begin with Kleeneze, because anything before that is either illegal or you just don't want to know. It's boring. But it really did start with Kleeneze, and it was 15 years ago, and I know I keep bleating on about this 15 years, but it's particularly pertinent now because 15 years ago I reluctantly came into the business. I didn't know much about network marketing, and I know some people argue I still don't know much about network marketing, but I didn't know what this business was about. I knew one thing though, that it was promising to grow, and I wanted to be part of an organisation that had the promise to grow. So I was fed all these P&L figures and they looked great, and I thought, you know, I want to be a part of this growth, and it looks like it's going to do it. I didn't know the principle by which this business worked, which was of course the network. The network I met 4 days later at a conference, and many of you heard me say this before, but I was at this conference and it was a Nottingham Symphony Hall, and there was about 2,000 people there, and I'd never seen that many people in my life. And I'm in one room, and then I'd never seen that many people wearing badges before. I'd never seen anything like it. Then I'd never seen so many people wearing upside down badges. And I made the mistake of saying to somebody, your badge is upside down. And then I learned never to say that ever again. And the concept hit me right there and then, and you've heard me say this, but it's my most famous story, if you want stories, and the story was that this ponytail guy goes on stage, and I think to myself, my God, what's he going to come out with? Because, you know, I can't even understand what the guy is saying. He's got 1 million badges down in his jacket. I was going to say his suit didn't fit, but then who am I to talk on this occasion, so I won't mention that. So he stood at the front, and he starts talking, and the title of his presentation was The £2 Million Man. And I had no idea what that was relating to. Of course, as the presentation went on, Gavin Scott mentioned that that was his turnover every 4 weeks. And I thought, wow, that's impressive. £2 million every 4 weeks, that's impressive. Then, the bombshell for me when I learned my biggest lesson in network marketing happened next. In the next 30 seconds, I learned all I needed to know about network marketing, and that's when he mentioned what he was earning. So he said £35,000, and I genuinely thought that was an annual figure. And the bombshell was, it was every 4 weeks. And at that point, I don't think I've ever recovered. I haven't recovered to this day, 15 years on. And I thought to myself, I need to find out how these people, the network, can earn that kind of income, and I don't even understand what the guy's talking about. And he's got a ponytail. I thought, how does this happen? So I went away and I studied it, and remember, in my first year, I spent that entire year working with and studying the network. That's all I did. Driving from one meeting to another, being with one leader or another. My first year was spent with the likes of the Whites, Chris Mason Paul, and all those leaders that were building the business back in the early part of the millennium. The entire year, all I did was speak to people and find out. And I was fascinated about this business. And our tagline in those days used to be, ordinary people earning extraordinary incomes. And I have to say, that is as true today as it has ever been. And I remember back then, back 15 years ago, one thing that struck me about that crowd in the Nottingham Symphony Hall was the excitement. It wasn't the number of people, it was the excitement they were generating. People were, you know, full of anticipation, full of energy, full of optimism. And even in the year 2000, that was not a common theme with the English-British public. It was not a common theme to have a group of people that were that optimistic in January. It just didn't happen. So the one thing that did always strike me about this business, other than learning the lesson of how it worked from seeing Gavin talk about this amazing income was this amazing energy that the network had. And from then on in, I realized that it wasn't Kleeneze, as in Kleeneze corporate, that ran the business. It wasn't Kleeneze that were responsible for the growth in the business. It wasn't Kleeneze that had the power in the business. The power in the business was the people. We were nothing more, and we are nothing more today than a service provider. And I noticed that Bertie got in the old out-of-stock situation. So, a service provider who tries to be a service provider the best they possibly can. And that's all we have ever been. Nothing more, nothing less, but a service provider to the network who can go and build a network and create the massive incomes that they do. And you know what? The amazing thing about this year, the start of this year, after 15 years, I could never forecast back then, in 15 years, I would have an exciting year start like we've had already this year. 20 days into 2015, I could never have anticipated this business being as excited and full of anticipation as it is today. And I've never known anything like it in 15 years. You know, it's not normal for a business to think about their heyday and say, do you know what, we're not even there yet. Most businesses, no matter who they are, even if you talk about big conglomerates like Microsoft, they have heydays that happened a decade ago or a few years ago. Yes, they've got big days coming maybe, but I can honestly say that our heydays, our big days, our big momentum, it hasn't even started yet if the first 20 days is anything to go by. They've got to be the best 20 days I've ever known at the start of any year in 15 years. And I think some of you have felt that, you've seen that on social media. And you know, I know we've talked about KLife and we've talked about doing all three. You've got to remember, and this is my philosophy on this business, you know, yes, KLife will produce results, and I've already seen what we're putting in version 2, which is going to be your Christmas version. I know we're hardly over Christmas, but we're looking at version 2. And that's not because we haven't got the products for 1. That's not true. That is not true. We'll service that as well. I'll tell you how in a minute. But looking at that, it's still nothing to do with what we have. It is still the network. Think about it. The majority of the excitement behind KLife, yes, there's value prices, yes, there's great products, but the excitement started back in October when a handful of you decided that the way to sell or the way to promote the business was through social media. We had bugger all to do with that, and I will be the first to admit that was the network. It predominantly Andy Boswell, but all the people that worked with him, and then all the people that followed and supported him. That was nothing to do with us. What that did do, it gave us even more enthusiasm for KLife, because KLife, or Project K, it was called back then, was this great idea we had. But it was a social media explosion that made us believe that that is going to have a bigger future than we could ever anticipate. So my point is, even when it comes to KLife, it's to do with the network. It's a network that promote it, it's a network that use it, it's a network that are getting the results. And after 20 days, even with the challenges that we've had, because there was 3 ways KLife was going to go. It was a conceptual project. 3 ways it was going to go. Really badly, exceptionally well, or really neither here or there. Now, each area was going to have its challenges. If it had gone really badly, the investment would have gone down the pan and we would have been in trouble. Indifferent, you don't have excitement about indifferent. Exceptionally well, we're going to run out of a few things. Bed covers. I couldn't have forecast bed covers. 5 minutes it took for those to sell out. 5 minutes. That's outrageous. And you know what? We had to even stop buying them in multiples. Somebody ordered 48 sets and we had to sell him just 1. Gave him 1. So it wasn't just multiple orders, although people did try that. Multiple orders, it wasn't that. It just, sometimes you get a product that's going to do that. And I don't think any of us, I don't care what anybody at head office says, none of us expected KLife to go the way it has. But for me, it's not about the sales, and you've already heard Bertie mention that sales are good at the moment, and they really are. 20 days in, we've had a brilliant start. If this continues, if this momentum continues, we will be in a better place than we've ever been in Kleeneze, and that is going so, considering the roller coaster we've had in the last 20, 30 years in this business. To be at our peak in 2015, which is promised based on the first 20 days, you know, it's quite a phenomenal place to be. Now, I don't know what I'm saying now, what to talk about. So, going back to KLife, the project, nobody could have forecast the success that it's having. Now, we knew it was going to be good. I don't think ever, not once did I think it was going to be indifferent or it was going to go backwards. I thought it would create some excitement. Because basically what the idea was, the concept behind it was to offer high value at a very low price. That was the idea, but to make it incremental. So it was always going to be over and above what your normal Kleeneze business was bringing in for you. So it was going to attract the people that may not have purchased from Kleeneze. It was the people that may have snubbed the normal Kleeneze process. It was for them to get extra people on board. And I think we've managed that, but surprisingly, or not surprisingly, now when I look back, your normal everyday customers are benefiting from that as well as buying from your catalogs. Because what we don't want, what I don't want, and what nobody wants, is for your entire Kleeneze business to come from KLife. Because to get those prices and to get that value, you have to look at commission rates. And that's where, I guess, the do all three is so important. KLife is going to grow and grow, and there's lots of areas we need to look at, but I still believe that your Kleeneze business, which regularly throws into this organisation £50 million every single year, will continue to do that. What the other books will do is bring in incremental sales, and the growth in online is going to get greater and greater because you're getting better and better at doing it. You know, you're getting far better than you were even 2 months ago. And to think, we still have, at the end of the year, only 7% of the entire network were using online sales, only 7%. And you know, it's not much more than that now. I think people have been quite slow getting on the online trail, but it's growing, but still, we're not even in double digits yet. So, you know, the potential there is huge. So if you could get, you know, a big chunk of your sales using KLife with the minimal amount of output in hours, then you're winning. Yes, put them in with your catalogs. Yes, use them as thank you packs. Yes, work out the system that works for you the best. But remember, it's got to be incremental. It's got to be above what you're already getting, because that's the way you will make money. Because at the end of the day, this business is about one thing and one thing only. It's about making money. And 2 years ago, I personally made the commitment that I no longer cared about the company vision or the company mission statement. All I truly cared about is that every distributor makes more money than they've ever made before. And that was it, nothing else. So I didn't talk about company vision. Yes, we have a vision somewhere, of course we do. Yes, we have a mission statement, changed every 5 minutes, but we do have one. Yes, we even have a plan. Can you believe we even actually have a plan? And I'm the worst planner in the world, but we do have a plan. But all I want is for individuals to earn more money. And this is the first time in many years, and I'm talking many, many years, where I've seen brand new people who only started 48 hours ago already in profit. That's the quickest I've ever seen people get into profit. And in this scenario, all I mean by profit is they've got their investment back already. That is profit. 48 hours is phenomenal. And it's not even illegal, for God's sake. What they were doing is perfectly legal. So that's the quickest I've seen people get their investment back, which says to me, we're on a recruitment boom. I think once we've got our kit sorted, once we maybe introduce the odd new kit, which we're looking at for the future, because we're going to have to look at online sales very closely. We might need something that's purely electronic. We don't know that yet. We have to assess the results after a couple of months. But I think we're on the cusp of a recruitment boom. because people are making money. If you can show me anything else legal that can get your investment back in 48 hours, I want to be a part of it, because I've never seen anything like that in any business, let alone our own business. So the anticipation after 15 years, I believe, is greater than I've seen it before. And we've done some things in this business. You know, we've launched all kinds of things. Some amazing things, some not so amazing things, some absolute diabolical things that we thought were going to be amazing. But for the first time ever, I think that the anticipation is greater. And for me, anticipation and energy and excitement is probably more important than initial results. Far more important, because what anticipation and excitement and energy give you is the one thing I noticed back 15 years ago was hope. That it gives you a hope that you can build a future, that you can build extra income, that you can actually build the goals that you really want, that you can do the things that evade most of the people in this country that cannot have them and they remain as dreams. And to have hope in any organization, anything, is valuable. It's more valuable than anything we have today. And I think we have more hope in our organization today than I have honestly ever seen before. I've never seen this kind of excitement in a long time. And as I said, we've launched a lot of things in many years, and it's the first time it seems that to me that everybody's working closer together than ever before. I've not seen the kind of sharing that the likes of Andy Boswell and Debbie G and all those people have done. I've not seen the kind of sharing and togetherness when it comes to some of the challenges that we've had. You know, there was a part of us that always knew that if this takes off, if it really does take off, like the rocket we took it off with at the launch, then there are going to be times in the first few weeks where we're going to be in trouble. Of course we are. But I could not have told you that pugs would have been the centre of our problems. I could not have told you that. If I knew that was going to happen, we wouldn't have had it on display. I could never have told you that, because I have to admit, it shows you that I'm no buyer. When I saw them, I really didn't think we were going to sell many at all. I thought, who the hell would have a dog on their bed? But that's a whole different story altogether. There we have it. The excitement and the anticipation today, I truly believe, is greater than before. And I'd like to think that individuals are also seeing that for themselves. And there's people in this room that have been in the business a while. You know, we all have our ups, we all have our downs. That is it's our business, it's the ethos of our business. You know, it doesn't always go the way we want it to go. It doesn't. And one of the reasons is because we deal with people. You know, we deal with real, everyday people. You know, so some days when somebody says they're going to come to a meeting, they don't come because they've let you down. People let us down. People will, you know, that's one of the things that this business, you know, revolves around. In fact, it's the only thing that this business revolves around. And because it revolves around people, yes, we've had our ups and downs. You know, we've created our own shenanigans at HQ and got things massively wrong. And we probably will continue to do that. But I have to say that I still haven't found a system better than what we have today. And I don't mean our system at head office. I don't think we even have a system. I mean your system of introducing people to a concept that can help them make a little bit more money than they've already got. I was speaking to Angela earlier, and that's Angie, isn't it? Angie earlier, and we were talking about how much difference it makes to your normal person out there, not that we're abnormal, but a normal person out there with just an extra £50 a month. Do you know what? That makes a difference to anyone's pocket in any month. And sometimes we lose sight of that because we're always talking about these huge, big incomes. And I remember a time when this business was sold on the £50 principle, that you just taught people to make an extra £50 a month and see where that took the business. And some would see the big picture and they'd go big style. But so many people were happy earning £50. And the true nature of network marketing is lots of people earning a small amount of money. That's the nature of network marketing. And that then results in the people who want to earn the big incomes, the lifestyle changing incomes. And as far as systems go, I don't know any other system that can fulfill that full spectrum of human requirement, from absolutely the smallest amount, the £50, which makes a massive difference, to the massive lifestyle changing incomes. You know, I've never known a system that works in the way ours does, and it works around people. And the one thing our network, which is you, is absolutely brilliant at, is that connection with people. And when people say to me, so, you know, what do you suggest? What do you suggest would make our business better or bigger or more fruitful? And the only thing I've ever been able to say, not because I don't know anything else, but because I truly believe it's your ability with people. Get better at communicating, get better at connecting, get better at building relationships. And the better you do that, the better your business is going to be, whether it's with your customers, whether it's with your virtual customers online, or whether it is with your team, your prospecting, whatever it is. Get better at dealing with people, because that's what our business is about. That and nothing else. That is it. That's the bottom line. Again, the true nature of network marketing is your ability to connect with people. Nothing else. That's why out there in the world and history of network marketing, some organizations have built multi-billion-pound industries on the back of selling, you know, the products didn't even matter, the back of selling relationships and connecting with people. But we have it kind of balanced. We have good products and we have a network that connects with people. So the anticipation is there, the excitement is there, the energy is there. And, you know, I can honestly say, this year, thanks to what you do, we've just had a tremendous start, and you know the signs are that it's obviously going to continue. You know, after those days, 20 days, no, not even 3 weeks yet, when you look at the rest of the world and you're seeing companies coming out with some dreadful figures and some dreadful projections, and they're downsizing organizations and they're making people redundant. Goodness me, we're going the other way. We can't even get hold of stuff that we want. We have to try, you know, we're chartering jets to bring things in for us. So it's a quality challenge. So thank you for bearing with that, but it really has been one born of a massive amount of success. Far more than I ever thought, or any of us ever thought it was going to be. But it is just the beginning. So, you know, get good with that connecting people. Definitely do all three. Don't forget that your core book, which is a Kleeneze bread and butter book, still brings in £50 million a year. That's £50 million, £25 million worth of commission. It still brings that. You know, this year, as I said, there's going to be lots of growth in this business. We've already had to just in the last 24 hours put a purchase order in for 2 minis, because we will be awarding 2 at the May showcase. That shows you the gravity of how powerful the business is at the moment. Now we haven't awarded 2 cars in a summer showcase for a while now. So, you know, there's a lot of things happening. So whatever it is you want from it, just be sure of what your plan is or where you want to go. And if you're confused as to how to use KLife or how to go online, then seek that information. I'll tell you, it's so much of it is on Facebook, on some of the groups you see, so much of it is on there. But get good at it. See, if it's only 10% of our Kleeneze business using online selling at the moment, that shows you the massive potential. And Bertie was absolutely right, because it could open up doors far further afield for us. Of course it could, but this is just inception. It's almost like being on the ground floor of a massive expansion project, which is where we are today. So as far as the future is concerned, well, if the first 20 days or anything to go by, we're going to have an extraordinary year. You know, much better than I've ever thought it was going to be. But for me, it's not about today's sales or the first 20-day sales, not about that. It really has been about the anticipation people are feeling, that energy and that excitement people are feeling, and the fact that today we've seen people come into the business and get their investment back in 48 hours. And they haven't even done anything wrong. They've done it the right way. And to be able to be in a business that can do that,
I could not forecast that back in the year 2000 when I started. I could not have told you that it was going to be a more exciting and interesting place today than we have ever had before. But that's where we are. So I would say get good at the principles of what we're doing, working on those, but most importantly, bigger and more importantly than ever, is that connection with people. Whether it's online, never ever disregard anybody online in any kind of sale. Treat them as absolute gold dust. Same with your customers, which you already do. That's why we regularly bring in that 50 million from the core catalogue. And of course, the new area, the incremental people, the new people that will be buying into KLife. You do all that, we'll keep supplying products as much as we possibly can, and we really will. You know, we're picking up our game, and it's had to be a huge, huge learning curve on this. The fact that things like pug covers sell has been a big learning curve for me. I could never have even dreamt that. I really couldn't have done. And many products like that. So the future is looking good. I can honestly tell you it's looking good. You know, make sure you get to the May showcase. I know we've only just gone past the January one, but we're just planning for that. In the meantime, we're of course sourcing as much as we possibly can for KLife. We've already got the plans for number 2. As you know, there's going to be 2 a year, and the next one will be sometime around June. We'll preview that in May, show you what it's going to be. That KLife will have, you'll obviously have an extraordinary Christmas catalogue. It's bizarre talking about Christmas in January, but you will have an extraordinary Christmas catalogue which will come out in August, or around about August. But the KLife will be again full of products that will complement what you've got at absolute value prices, and hopefully by then what your customers will do, they'll keep buying from your core book and buy more, but they'll buy the incremental stuff from your KLife because we'll have given them even better value that they can go and buy out in Asda or any of the other people that count themselves as our competition today, because that's our true competition today. Our true competition is no longer multi-level marketing, not really, it isn't. Our true competition is becoming the high street. Our true competition used to be one day, it used to be the pound shop, but today it's the likes of Asda and Tesco and places like that. So we're competing with that, but we're competing with a powerful network, and that's one thing they haven't got. So the power of our business is our network, nothing more, nothing less, it always will be. So build that, build people's skills, build your skills with customers, and we have got an extraordinary year lined up. So thank you for listening, thank you for your support, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.
Culture and all